So just started university, uncertain about how you can maximize your time in university to make the most out of it, and how can you make it easier for you to land and transition into the role that you want in the future. Allow me to share with you some of the things that no one will tell you as you embark on your university journey. And seriously, if you are aware and you actively work on these items, it will definitely put you forth in a very favorable position in the future. The earlier you start, the more opportunities and chances for you to leverage on down the road. So diving right into the content for today, the first thing that we have is choosing the course that is meant for you. So this point would mainly go out to those who have yet enrolled or you're currently in your first year of studies, because it's not too late for you to make a more informed decision after entering into uni and being able to change out to another course that might be more suitable for you in the meantime. So making sure that you choose what's right for you is extremely crucial, because that is what will propel and help you move forward in the future. And usually my recommendation would be, once you set yourself on that path, then just tunnel vision, go straight into it, don't look back. And in the case whereby you regret, just go to bed, sleep, wake up, and once you wake up, start hustling over again. Just don't give up. And in terms of choosing the course that is meant for you, you need to ask yourself a few questions. So does it equip you with the necessary skill set that will help you pursue what you want to do in the future? And does it put you in a more favorable position to do the things that you actually want to do? And also, does it expose you to things that you are interested in as a person? So we go down to the second point, which would be on planning. So this goes down to planning what requirements do you need to meet in order for you to graduate on time. Some will require you to take X amount of modules before you can qualify for a certain major or minor. Then the next question would be, would choosing that major or minor be worth it? Would it be worth your time pursuing it? And whether or not is it worthwhile for you to join an external program by other companies or other organizations while you're still in university? Let's move on to the third point, and that would be on learning a third language. Personally, I think that is extremely worthwhile to learn a third language while you're in uni, especially because there is no additional cost or charges that is involved when you do so. And if you are thinking of studying a new language after you graduate, then I would say to maybe think twice, because the cost involved in learning a new language outside is extremely high as compared to when you're doing it in uni. So why you should study a third language while you're in uni is because of the certification that you can get. And since you're already paying your school fees, then why not just make use of it and learn a third language along the way? And when you get certified by a school, then it helps you a lot in terms of when you're applying for jobs and all, it's all recognized. And yeah, learning a third language, I think it's pretty cool also. So for me, I would definitely highly recommend everyone out there to go on and learn a third language while you're in university, because as the world becomes a lot more interconnected, you'll find that having another language up your sleeves will be very, very useful. So for myself, I learned Bahasa Indonesia while I was in my second year of uni, and I was able to use it quite often as I interact with counterparts from Indonesia while I was traveling or during my internship. So all in all, I think that learning a third language is definitely worthwhile. But the thing to note here is that when you take a language module, you need to be prepared that it's gonna be quite intensive and taxing. Learning a language is usually one of the modules that will take up a lot more of your time. So personally for myself, I'm not that strong in my languages, so I take a lot more time and effort to learn and to be familiarized with how the whole structure of the lesson will be, and I take a lot of time to prepare for the lesson also. So in that case, when I took my language modules, I usually balance it out with some other modules that are not as taxing or not as heavy, so that I can better manage my time in that sense. So moving on to the fourth point, which is on overloading. So the thing that you should ask yourself is whether or not you want to overload while you're in university, or do you just want to go with the recommended requirements? So the thing about overloading is that definitely it'll be a lot more taxing on the academic front, but it depends on how you plan your modules, because not all modules are intensive or it's not as heavy, and some of them are pretty light, so you can afford to take more of those kind of modules to balance out, and so that you can have an easier time. When you know more about the modules that are available, it helps you because you'll be able to mix and match the different types of modules that are available to give you the most optimal output from the semester itself. So for myself, I overloaded almost every single semester. So what overloading means is just taking more modules than the recommended amount by your university. And so this is how my allocation looks like. You can view this whole table for the kind of modules that I've taken thus far, as well as the quantity of the modules that I've taken throughout my university time. So basically you could see that almost every single semester I've overloaded by 1 or 2 modules. So essentially this allowed me to free up one whole semester worth, which I could use it to take an LOA without delaying my graduation, or I could just choose to graduate early and save on one whole semester worth of school fees. So definitely I don't think that overloading is for everyone for sure, but if you're watching this video right now, I'm assuming that you just started uni or you're in your first year of studies, and these are the kind of things that you should prepare right from the start so that you can have sort of an advantage when you move on to the later years of your university life. So for myself, I think it's definitely doable, as you can see how I squeezed the modules in the various semesters. So naturally you need to know which modules are the ones that are heavy or the ones that are taxing, and that's where you can balance them out with the rest that are not as heavy, so that you can efficiently and effectively study for all of your modules and do well for that semester. So before we continue, do drop this video a like if you find that it's helpful so far, and subscribe to the channel if you would like to see more of such content. Appreciate it. Now moving on to our fifth point would be planning when to take which module. So there's a lot of things to take into consideration when it comes to this point. For example, some modules, they have prerequisites, so you have to take module A before you can take module B, and also some modules will only be available in semester 1 and some only available in semester 2. Taking all this into consideration, you need to know when the module will be available and does that fit into your timeline, because you wouldn't want a case whereby, okay, at this semester I want to take module A, but I can't because I haven't fulfilled the prerequisite, or you can't because it's not available, and then you have to delay it. And one very important thing to note about this is that when it comes to planning for your overseas or local exchange, so usually students go for exchange around their third year of studies. Some do it earlier, some do it later, it's up to them. The thing is, you need to know what modules you want to map across to the partner university ahead of time, because that gives you some time to prepare and know whether or not you're able to qualify or able to map those modules across. And also, especially, you need to know whether or not those modules would be available in the partner university by the time that you're going for the exchange. And going along that thought, how you can approach this would be doing the trace back method, which you trace back from the time when you are going to do the exchange, trace it back to where you are right now and what are the things that you need to fulfill before you can meet those requirements to take the particular set of modules that you want to clear in the partner university at the time when you want to go for your exchange. So I definitely highly recommend to use an Excel spreadsheet to keep track of all the modules that you have taken or all the modules that you're looking to take in the future, because this gives you a very good bird's eye view on what the whole scenario is like for your university kind of life. And also it helps you to plan out your curriculum in such a way that you don't miss out anything, so that you don't potentially delay your graduation because of that. So moving on to the number 6 point for today, understanding the modules prior to taking them. This point is about whether or not you understand and be able to determine whether or not this particular module that you're about to take, is it something that you can devote your attention to? Is it something that you can understand it well? Is it something that you can do well in? So basically, there are some modules that have so fanciful titles and outline, but when you actually take them, it's just some go through motion nonsense, and you don't actually learn what you thought you're going to be learning when you take those modules. So there will definitely be a lot of modules like this where you don't actually learn what you think you're going to be learning, but it only looks good on paper. So naturally, you ought to find out more about what you're going to sign yourself up for before you even take the modules. Basically, just be aware of how the module is conducted, usually by which professor, how is it going to be like, what's the structure of it, and so that you don't get scammed like I did in the past. Going down to the number 7 point for today is learning how to be vocal and reaching out actively. Since now you're already a uni undergrad, there's no longer any more spoon feeding, there's no more hand holding. When there's something that you feel that isn't right, then you reach out, you voice out. You need to take the initiative and the proactiveness to go and reach out, take steps, the necessary steps to help yourself. You can always reach out to others via all the different platforms that are available. If let's say you are facing some administration issue in school, then reach out to the various office that can help you, or ask them to redirect you to someone that can potentially help you with the problem that you're trying to solve. And if let's say you want to know more about a certain module or you want to know more about a certain company, then you can just use LinkedIn to find who are the ones who has taken that particular module, or who are the ones who have worked in that particular company, and then just reach out and then ask for more information that you are curious to find out about. Or you can also tap into the network of friends to aid you in this process also. And personally, I think that there's no harm in reaching out to people when you are in need of help or in need of advice. Basically, I think that there's really no harm in reaching out to people when you need help, and because what's the worst that can happen? I don't think people will think that you are desperate just because you're asking for help, but unless you're asking someone to spoon feed you with all the different information, then definitely that is not the right thing to do, so please don't do that. So just take the initiative, ask politely. I think it will go a long way, and Singapore or even the world is relatively small. We are all interconnected to each other one way or another. Going down to the number 8 point for today is the transition into university. So on this point, when you first enter into university, you will probably have some form of culture shock because of how things are like in school, and you'll definitely undergo a transition phase to be accustomed to how uni is being run in terms of how the school is structured, how the lessons are structured, how do you bid for the modules, how do you go for the CCAs, and etc. And also the autonomy that you have as a student. So when you first enter into university, there's actually a lot of things that are out there that you can participate in. So be it in terms of hall, joining the hall CCAs, the hall committees, being involved in hall, or there's also faculty-wide CCAs, there's uni-wide CCAs that you can take part in. And there's also a lot of case competitions that students actively take part in as well, which could be organized by the faculty, by a company, or by a club. So the transition that freshmen often face here is, how do you manage your time when you first enter into university because of so many things that is going on in school, and what do you choose to devote your time to? There really isn't a hard and fast rule on what you should do. There's no one-size-fits-all solution. It is purely up to you in terms of what do you want to devote your time into. But what I would ask you to think about is whether or not these activities that you take part in, is it something that will help you achieve what you want in the future, and does it propel you forward and to help you reach your goals eventually? Basically, you need to take ownership of what you decide to do and stick to it and be responsible for it. And going down to our final point for today is the transitioning out of universities. Trust me, time flies, and a blink of an eye, you're going to be graduating soon. So for this is about your transition out of uni into the working world, or when you're doing your internships while you're in school, during your summer breaks or your winter breaks, or taking a leave of absence just do an internship. So this is where you need to have that kind of mindset shift. So once you enter into the working world, it's actually quite different from how things are run in school. It is no longer an area where you can just have fun as and when you want, and although some career out there you can still afford to do so, but for most you'll be set in the position whereby you need to be serious about what you do, and you can't just have fun as and when you want, and you actually become an adult with actual responsibilities. So you need to be able to shift your mindset fast enough to adapt to the new situation, and sort of being able to grow out of that having fun phase, being able to wire and tune yourself to be a little bit more mature and serious. But then again, here's my favorite quote of this year, is all work no play makes Jack a dull boy. So while you're psyched up to work and hustle hard, so you still need to take a break and reset at times, because in life this is not a sprint, but it is a marathon that you have to keep running towards the end, and you don't want to give up halfway. So that's about all that I have for this video. If you felt the things mentioned in this video has helped you one way or another, do drop this video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It helps a lot. And also do drop down any comments about what are some of the questions that you might have, if there's any other things that I might have missed out in this video, or if there's any other things that you would like to see more of, do drop them down in the comments below. So take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.